I did not realize that showed the chat over the over the countdown. But hello there, everyone. Welcome to Tapcaf Transmissions, the only Star Wars podcast that has no idea how to technologically handle itself. I'm
That's
Corey.
not true. Have you seen the age of some of the
Okay.
guys running these Star Wars podcasts? We got boomers, or at least millennials. We get it half the time.
We're middle millennials. Like we're about to be boomers, really, in spirit. Obviously, we know we don't become boomers, but
we're skipping a generation as well.
Yeah, well, who cares about Gen X?
That is true, to be fair.
Fuck those guys.
Gen X has no swag.
All right, Justin, Mr. Eckhart's Ladder, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Got the old brain box working, reading a book again.
I know
good.
this. When's the last time we read a book?
It's been months.
Was it a High Republic book? Were you even here for the last time we read a book? Because I was doing some books with Zach and Ilkin end of last summer. Then it's just been shows.
Really, we must have read something since then.
Well, we didn't do like Traitor and Star by Star that long ago. Destiny's Way has been waiting a while, but I guess it was like end of last year.
You know what I was thinking? What I want to do for the next book?
Destiny's Way, the book that we've been.
If you want, I want to do Thrawn, Canon Thrawn book 1.
I feel like that makes sense to do closer to Ahsoka season 2 or something.
That'll come out in like 10 years.
It'll come out like next year.
All right, fine. Fuck you, Corey.
We're 2 years into the New Jedi Order, and we should have been done by now. There's not that many books left.
Destiny's Way next.
After Destiny's Way, they get so long. Is the
Destiny's Way out of my mind, annoyed at you right now.
Oh, look at that! Look, I finished the book. I was ready, and now I got to read it again because I don't remember enough of it to talk about it. But it's fine. We are today instead talking about Star Wars: The Living Force by John Jackson Miller, one of the authors who has done the jump from Legends
rubbing that thing off screen. You had that ready to go.
It's sitting on top of my very dead terrarium. It's not looking good in there.
Holy shit.
It had to live in a closet for a month until we remove it.
Yeah, that looks like the fucking magistrate's town after she burned it down.
Yeah, it's my
Corvus.
Corvus stand-in. I don't like that. As I've gotten older, I've gotten to the point where like I know that I'm in the right ballpark with something I'm thinking of, but I can't make that final step. Which when I saw adults doing that as a kid, I was like, oh, you're just an idiot. But it happens.
I'm the opposite, where I had trouble getting there, and then once you started, I was like, oh yeah, Corvus.
So we make a good team. Is that what we're going with today?
Good life partners.
Yep. Well,
the two of us together should hopefully be able to remember the names of our children.
Name all 3 of yours, quick.
Oh, don't make me.
And your social security number. Well,
120. No, I'm joking.
Social insurance. It's a whole different thing in Canada and the States. You never know whether you want to tailor stuff to the Americans or the Canadians.
Yeah,
but
we've got SIN numbers, which is quite pleasant.
Yeah,
SIN.
Is there any major Star Wars news that we want to go over before getting to today's book?
Well, we've gotten lots of little Acolyte teasers and trailers. The marketing push has fully begun. So there's nothing really that I want to talk about in particular, other than just to kind of take a note that they're really pushing the show quite hard.
Yeah. It's nice to see some advertising for it going in. Because a lot of the shows just kind of get dropped without too much more before. So it's interesting. They've got a different approach here.
Especially compared to like Andor or Ahsoka, I thought was advertised pretty heavily.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian, like season 1, was not. And then,
well, there was also the big surprise trip that a bunch of YouTubers and social media people got to take out to Acolyte Land to meet like Dave Filoni and Leslie Headland and stuff. So
Leslie Edlund looked pretty tough in that picture, I gotta say.
the big group shot of them all.
Yeah, she was like, I'm just trying to pull it up. She had like a bicep out. But yeah, so there's that event. There also is, to my understanding, going to be a red carpet screening, I think. I don't know if it's this week or this weekend. It might even be this evening, I'm not sure. But
Yeah, I think there were going to be people's impressions starting to come out this week, but the show is just under 2 weeks away, so
Yep.
that's exciting stuff. I've been looking forward to it for a while, and the show does look better in trailers as it goes on, as stuff probably gets finished on it a bit more. So
yeah, it definitely looks a lot better than like Kenobi, for example.
yeah,
That's good.
yeah. So we'll be talking a lot about the Acolyte in the next few weeks. But
Yeah,
I guess
we're 2 weeks away. Well, less than 2 weeks away.
yeah,
Oh, one thing we did
12 days.
learn, and this is very nice, is that I think it's getting 6 Pacific time release. So it's going to release in the evening rather than in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's really nice, especially for us.
Yeah, because I think that's the exact same time as Ahsoka was, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
So I like that much better. I know that's not the case for like a lot of Europeans who are
A lot of people
upset
just
about it
don't
being out,
care.
but, like,
Yeah.
yeah. Like it's fundamentally just an earlier release time. So like yes, you have to get up a bit earlier, but you can watch at the exact same
Well,
time
with this
and just
one,
don't
you
open Twitter.
can stay up. Like, this is not in the like, it was 12 PST before, so it's like 6 hours earlier. So it's like, at least
Well,
for
for
me.
Europeans, that means staying up until the time that we would have had to stay up till with the
Oh, you're
other ones
talking
that
for
we didn't
Europeans
like. Yeah,
specifically.
yeah,
I mean, there's also the fact that I actually don't give a fuck.
that's true. That is true. You
Uh,
don't.
no, like, I get that argument though, but it's also like, it's releasing in the middle of the morning for them, like on work days.
Hmm.
So was that really better? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. But I don't know if they're going to stick with this as like the live action time, and the other one's going to remain for animation. But
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't.
know.
I prefer this, but I don't like. It's not going to change my life.
It will change my life because I've got, like, I can't stay up till 4 o'clock and cover it. So now I can do coverage the night of. And for me, it's like, if I don't do a video the night, I spend most of the day with my kids. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm like almost 18 hours before I'm doing my videos, which is not great.
Yeah, I haven't done any coverage of the more recent trailers, but like this last 2 weeks has been really awful. So I've
Oh,
really
really?
fallen behind on everything.
I did a video on one of the trailers and it did pretty well, I want to say. I'm curious to see what fan reactions like, for sure.
It's gonna be like it's gonna be completely obnoxious from very predictable people,
Mhm.
but like
On
it's gonna be
on
one of the hardest ones to like have to filter out that element of it.
Yeah, I feel like it's also, I'm gonna be dealing with my High Republic stands if I don't
Hmm.
like it, which will be difficult. I'm hoping I do like it,
Hmm.
but
I think.
we got beef. There was a whole post on r/the High Republic about me. So
Oh no, what did they say?
just, it was when I put the video out about how, like, whatever that last High Republic book that I didn't like was, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
not for me. I put that video out. I actually thought was a pretty reasonable video,
yeah.
but they didn't.
Well, it's kind of the same as like Jenny Nicholson's video about Galactic Star Cruiser right now, where like if you actually watch the video, and I know you won't because it's very long, but like she doesn't say anything super incendiary about it. Like she said it was not a good experience for her and it was too expensive and that kind of stuff, and that she didn't understand like why certain choices were made. But it wasn't like it was just 4 hours of completely trashing it or being mean to the staff or anything. And now apparently Galactic Star Cruiser Twitter is a thing, and they're all coming for.
I hear yeah, someone in our chat said the Imagineers are after her, which is just hilarious. So, did she do a sponsored trip or did she do it just as a fan?
No, she just went on her own, and wasn't thrilled with like she ended up not being able to do a lot of the story stuff because it didn't seem to work out, and she wasn't sure like how some of that even really worked. But like she was pretty complimentary to the actual crew there. Like there's a lot of stuff she said in it that she did like, and like some other common complaints that she kind of countered, but it's just the price tag plus the like
Yeah.
the way the experience didn't actually work for her despite the price tag were kind of
It's
the
just so weird that you're paying literally thousands of dollars, or you
yeah.
were, because it's no longer a thing, and half of the experience during the days is at Galaxy's Edge, which is like you get if you buy a ticket to Disney World, you just like I know a lot of people haven't been to Galaxy's Edge because Disney's really fucking expensive, but Galaxy's Edge isn't like an exclusive. Like when you buy a ticket to Disney, you can just walk into Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
Um, I'm haven't watched the video. I probably will watch some of it. I guess my issue is I don't have any problem with the 4-hour video. It just almost seems like a truism that like at this point the Galactic Star
Yeah.
Cruiser was stupid.
And when I should clarify when I say she wasn't trashing it, she did have the overall opinion that it was bad, but it wasn't like she was just saying every part of it was bad for the sake of it being bad, is what I mean when I say something is not being trashed by someone. Because it was an overall very negative impression of the experience itself. But like she kind of went point by point through everything, said what she liked or didn't like about it, and gave very valid reasons for why she felt these things didn't work. But
I feel like there was a lot of it's weird because I feel like the Star Cruiser didn't like even like I'm surprised that there is Star Cruiser Twitter because I feel like there was no cultural impact. Like I wasn't like my mentions weren't being bombarded by Star Cruiser fans. I wasn't reading very much about Star Cruiser experiences. Even like the sponsored stuff seemed that is one
yeah,
clip I saw on her video, which I kind of agreed with and kind of disagreed with. She had the point that like Disney forces everything to have like a name to it. Like it's not just the Star Wars hotel, it's the Star Cruiser. I agree with part of that. I disagree with the fact that like I think everyone uses the term Galaxy's Edge rather
yeah.
than Star Wars Land. But yeah, it definitely doesn't have like I don't know. It definitely doesn't have like a genuine feel to it, I guess, like
Yeah.
some of the other
I
Disney stuff does.
I think I know the clip you were talking about, but like in the actual video that's preceded by like the kind of podcast they had before Galactic Star Cruiser opened. So it
Mhm.
was a bunch of people sitting around using these like very clear brand names for things that
Yeah.
was like it made it feel a
They're
lot
like
more
throwing the like
artificial.
trademark in at the end.
But like there's definitely like communities of people who went to Star Cruiser and had a good time, and now that is a community that exists. But like
Yeah.
that's very self-selected for people who went and had the experience kind of like at its best.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of what Jenny was talking about involved there's so many potential points of failure for how the experience was set up that it's very easy to spend the $6,000 and then not get like
Especially
you're
where it's
not
so
really gonna
short.
have a yeah.
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 It's so
Yeah.
short, like your day gets derailed. Um, and I did see one of her follow-up tweets as well where she was talking about how like fast pass like it used to be, and I mean we kind of experienced this a bit even when we went to Disney and we got the because we planned our day around going to Rise of the Resistance and the ride broke down.
Mhm.
Um, and obviously
3
there's not that
times
yeah, there's
without
not that much
falling in line every time.
yeah. And, like, there's not that much that you can do about that on their end. They gave us a refund, which is great. But, like, you gotta think about for a lot of families, going to Disney World is something they can do once in their lifetime. I never got to
Yeah.
go to Disney World growing up. I've taken my kids once. I'm sure we'll go again at some point. But, like, this is something that kids look forward to for years, and that, like, they might plan their entire day around doing something like Rise of the Resistance, especially because it is, like, such a long ride, and if they're not making you feel special when it gets fucked up, like, that's not great, and it kinda sounds like again, I haven't seen the video, but based on what you're saying, kinda sounds like that's an element of her kind of criticism in general about the Star Cruiser.
Yeah, like, she ended up for, like, the dinner and a show situation where they do the singing on stage, uh, she ended up at a table behind a pillar
Mm,
where like you couldn't actually see it from the table she was at. So people who had been at that table before were posting, "Oh, well, that just made me get up and like walk around to look at it. And if it hadn't been that way, I wouldn't have gotten up to go and do that." It's like that's a really weird way to spin it. But like it's just simple stuff like that where if you end up in that situation, this part of the experience could be ruined for you.
Yeah.
And when you're paying that much money, like it seems like uh it wasn't the guaranteed good time you would hope for if you're
Yeah.
paying that much money for it.
I'm also just skeptical of like I could get diarrhea and that's $6,000. I could be stuck in my room using the Star Cruiser Porto shit 9000 trademark for 3 days, and there goes my $6,000.
It just even that aside, I don't think a Star Cruiser was ever going to be something that appealed to me personally because
No.
I don't like the whole like any kind of LARPing just makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like particularly in a situation where like there are people paid to interact with me in a certain way. That kind of like
Yeah, I don't
baseline
love
for
that.
interaction makes me uncomfortable, which is why I don't even like going and ordering food at a regular place. But yeah.
Yeah. You mean a regular place in Star Wars land?
No, like a regular place, like if I'm
Oh,
going to a restaurant and then like all the wait staff have to be nice to me and yeah, I don't anyways. That's for me and my therapist to talk
yeah.
about.
Yeah.
But
Jesus.
that's once we
This
turn
guy's
off the
trouble.
cameras for fun. Yeah. But yeah, so Living
Please
Force.
talk with Star Wars fan.
Look, I'm the every fan on this podcast, Justin. You're the ivory tower Star Wars elite with your social skills and your
My wife,
wads of
my
cash.
kids, my mini fridge. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, well, do you get to sleep in a race car bed?
No. And I haven't honestly tonight we'll be up late. I ain't sleeping in a big bed with my wife. I ain't going in at 2 a.m. waking the baby up. No chance. So.
All right. Well, we have Living Force. So, what were your overall thoughts on the Living Force before we get into the nitty gritty plot details that everyone's here to hear us pick apart?
This is when you talk about nitty gritty plot details, this is maybe a story more than any where the nitty gritty plot details don't matter at all.
Right.
The short of it is, it's basically like the Star Wars Jedi Council Island Adventure. It's like the beach episode. Everyone is going to this planet, this is I think 33 BBY. So we're a couple years before the Phantom Menace. And the decline of the Jedi is already, well underway. The Republic as well is being kind of strangled by these corporate interests and bureaucracy and corruption. So the Jedi have been forced to close outposts, and one of the outposts that they're considering closing is on this. What's the name of the island? What's even the name of the planet again?
The planet is Quen.
Quen, right? It's on Quen, which is notable because it was a planet which was brought back during the High Republic era. I don't know if it was actually mentioned in the High Republic. I'm sure it was from the edge of disaster. Basically, it was like it completely fell apart. About 200 years ago, the Jedi rescued it. They fixed it up, and now they're dealing with the aspect or the prospect rather of having to shutter the Jedi outpost there. So the sort of entire events are precipitated by uh, this interaction that Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, who are not actually really the stars of the book, they're secondary characters really.
That's why they're not on the cover.
Yeah, it's the Jedi Council who stars really. They have this interaction where they're on a space liner and they basically learn about the issues that the Slice in the Outer Rim has been having because the Jedi have disappeared and the Republic have disappeared. So Qui-Gon sort of has this idea that they need to focus more on the living force and the day-to-day because they're getting a bit too caught up in like their ivory tower. So that leads to all the Jedi traveling to Quen, kind of to make a show out of the fact that, hey, we're still here, we're still around, and before we shut your island off and close the outpost, we're going to at least show face.
Yeah, like a lot gets put down to the shifting economy of the galaxy, bringing away like ebbing and flowing attention into different areas. So as the corporations leave and the Jedi leave, then the people are left with just pirates around because there's money to be made elsewhere. There's not any money to be made there. And a lot of the Jedi seem like okay with this as a systemic force, especially at the start. It's like, yeah, that's just how the economy goes. What do you mean this is not this is something that shouldn't happen? And I feel like the book never kind of gets past that. Just as a theme, it never goes fully into the class consciousness that you're hoping for from the Jedi Council and from Star Wars.
My main issue was like, and I think it's kind of related, is that the Jedi Council comes off as like way too paternalistic,
Yeah.
where it's like like we leave, everything falls apart, everything, and at times it almost feels like it's like you savages can't govern yourself. Like we need to be out here, like from small scale, like hey, you need therapy. Like what the fuck's going on? Or like you need to get your relationship together. Like managing these small scale relationships, which I like that that's a part of it that they kind of focus on. Yeah, being a Jedi is about helping individuals too, but yeah, it would have been nice to focus more on like it's not the Jedi are just kind of ordinary people. They should be seen as ordinary people. They've got extraordinary abilities, and they help out. But I was a bit like I don't want to say I was uncomfortable, but I didn't really like how the Jedi were like sometimes seen as the one guiding force or like the thin lightsaber blue line separating the outer rim and the other systems from chaos to order. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Like, there's nothing they do in this book. So Qui-Gon's quest for them is to find someone you can have a direct impact on in their lives, and that's great.
Mhm.
Like they all manage to do that. That's the quest they accomplish. Depa ends up kind of rescuing Kyla, someone who's kind of grown up in piracy in this area. She pulls her out of that and puts her in the judicial forces by the end.
Yeah.
Which is like it's not. It's also not great to take kids who have no other option and throw them into the military
You're
or
a fucking
paramilitary
cop
force.
now.
Yeah, it's it's a little questionable. Mace goes and makes a connection with the captain of one of these judicial ships. Well, it used to be a judicial ship, but
Used to be a judicial ship,
then you have like Coyote Mundi makes friends with a snow cone dealer, that kind of thing. And so like they all do manage to have some kind of positive impact on an individual's life, but like nothing that they're doing, they think they're having a bigger impact, I think, than they are. And I'm not
Yeah.
sure that they ever really address the core reasons that people out here would be losing faith in the Jedi or the Republic, where like I think it's Sacy Tin and Plo Koon who get there, and there's like the taxi drivers who are upset that they're being replaced by the droids, and they're basically doing a violent strike against their employer. I think it's those two.
Yeah.
And their solution to this is that they rescue the business owner who has replaced them all, and they tell everyone, "Oh, well, why don't you just use these as taxis instead?" And they kind of like reform the business, kind of like how it
It's like
was.
you know that like the gif of like he's like it's the guy he's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
like why not just think of that?
And it ends up being like putting them back exactly how they were. And we hear about it like one more time where, oh, they've started this thriving taxi business and it benefited the workers and the ownership. It's like, oh, so they did like the simple, obvious solution that just puts them back in the situation
Yeah.
that was already deteriorated by the other issues around them. Like you don't just go to this planet, tell them to set up a lemonade stand, and then suddenly they fix the economy that's driving them all towards piracy.
It's like Yoda's like, and our work here done is and the like Master Yoda, like there's still major issues. These kids actually still don't have a school, and he's like, done. Our work is, and he's like, hopping on the shelf, flying away. Like, yeah, there's still, yeah, it's I don't know. There were like hints of like the bigger problems, and it's obviously established by the Phantom Menace, where like there's major corporations, with just wielding incredible amounts of control. Like we learn that the schools are being subsidized by corporations. We learn that the Republic judicial forces are being subsidized as well by rich families. The Jedi don't.
Veer's appearance early on.
Yeah, the Jedi don't ever talk about that though. Really, like,
Yeah.
and they should like. There's no to me like real like I don't feel like they recognize what's going on, which maybe it's appropriate because like they're all gone like
Yeah.
less than 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Like 16 years or 17 years, and then they're all or 15 years and they're all done. So maybe that's the point. But yeah.
Well, there is the kind of underlying current to what they're doing by getting in touch with the living force and the goings on of these people's lives is that it's also supposed to be something that can help them understand like what's going on,
Yeah.
because Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon have the part at the end where they're talking to Lauber, Wungo, and guy number 3.
I did like those
Uh,
guys.
but
They should
they're
have been squib or what are they called? Squibs?
the squib, yeah,
Yeah, they should
the
have been
Troy Denning
squibs.
ones, yeah.
Yeah, they would have been
Another missed
squibs.
opportunity. But
Although we did have a
they,
Solonian in this book.
yeah, the one of the flunked out Jedi who didn't get sent to the Agricorps. But yeah, like Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon say, like, oh, part of our failure in that situation was that we didn't figure out, like, we stopped you from taking over the ship. We didn't look into more about what would drive you to this kind of situation. And that was our failing. So, like, you
Yeah.
kind of get the setup for, like, the Jedi Order does learn something from this. But like you're saying, it's probably too little too late.
Yeah, it is like the point is you're right where it's like, and this is kind of shown by the first bit of the book where it's like if you're in the moment and talking to people and in touch with the living force, which the original trilogy doesn't really make the distinction between living force and cosmic force.
Mhm.
Honestly, it's even the prequels don't. You get like the one quip in episode 1. But the idea is if you're present, and listening, you'll be pointed in the right direction and you'll learn kind of the underlying threads. The Jedi never really do. Like they
Yeah.
learn the underlying threads for some of these people. Like they learn the underlying threads like, oh, it's not I can't just stop this guy from stealing because his boss is going to break his kneecaps then. And
Yeah.
like, yes, that's step 1. But why is it like this? Like, why has this planet fallen into complete disarray? Why are things like how come the Jedi leaving is enough to cause the Outer Rim to fall apart? Like that's the real, thread they should be following. And they never really get to that.
Yeah, and I think they do kind of come away from the position I was talking about earlier, where, like, I don't think by the time they left the planet that Plo and Stacey might think that they'd fixed everything by telling the striking workers, "Oh, what if you work for the same guy doing the same job, and this time he doesn't fire you?"
Yeah.
But I think Stacey 10 is the one who learned the least from their experience, and at that point, it's like, okay, well, I'm glad you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say my favorite part of this book was definitely the different Jedi. Like,
Yeah,
I thought they did a. I thought the masters were written quite well. Like even Peel was really fun. Sayas, however you say his fucking name, he was not fun. I didn't know he was supposed to be such a fucking jerk. Stacey Tin.
yeah. Have a lot of them have never really had any like actual presence in stories either.
That's true.
Like Yariel Poof and
Uriel was
Stacey
fun.
Tin. Like
Yeah.
Yariel, I think was my favorite, and
Yeah.
like there's just enough of the robot chicken in there that like, I think was clearly an intentional choice. That I really liked him. Because Stacey, I don't even know if he shows up much in the Clone Wars, right?
I can't think of. Like I remember Evan Peel in the Clone Wars. He dies, doesn't he, on a mission?
Yes, he died. He's one of the ones that dies a few times, so I can never remember which death is which. Like, in Legends, I think he died 3 times.
Classic. Oh yeah, because he dies in like a comic that came out before the Clone Wars, and then he dies in the actual Clone Wars, if I remember correctly.
And then he dies in like the Coruscant Nights thing, where he's like living on the Coruscant Underground for a while.
So sick.
Is he the one? Is he the one that explodes? No, Yaddle explodes. One of them explodes in one of the Young Reader books. I forget which one it is though.
I liked Ki-Adi-Mundi, which is kind of funny because I don't like Ki-Adi-Mundi in the Clone Wars very much. But I think he was like kind of a good foil to. He bounced around, but he was, from what I remember, he was mostly with what's his name? Why am I forgetting his name? You just mentioned him.
Opa, or
yeah, he was mostly with Opa, wasn't he?
They were together a couple times. Sometimes he was with Ariel.
By the way, he was usually the more serious of whoever he was with, and
yeah,
that was fun.
We didn't really get any scenes with him and Stacey, which is probably for the best because those would not have been the most fun scenes.
And he didn't have a chance to genocide any bugs in this one with flamethrowers, so that kind of made me like him a bit more.
That's kind of his deal.
It did send me down the rabbit hole of like, it's so like, and I posted about this on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it, but it's so fucking dumb how they changed the costume for Eth Koth and Adi Gala, and they replaced them with like it's clearly just a costuming change. And Eth Koth becomes, because I was like thinking, oh, Eth Koth, oh yeah, he dies fighting Palpatine, but no, that's Agent Kohler.
Yeah. So what happened there was
they give me all the information.
When they were gonna do the Battle of Geonosis scene in episode 2, I think that was filming in Australia compared to the like UK filming of the council scenes in episode 1. They were originally going to be the same characters, but then they couldn't get the same actors, so they were filming it intending that to be Adigalia and Eth Koth in episode 2 or 3. I forget like which episodes they changed in, but it was just because they couldn't get the original actors, and then once that happened, they just decided they would be different people. Like they're like Coleman Kaj and Pablo Gil were not intended to be the same person. I don't think they were intended to be different characters, but the like Stas Ali and Egan Kohler didn't need to be, like, you could just say it's a recast. It's fine.
Or like they're in the background. Like, come on, like who's gonna know? Like they've all got makeup or headdresses on. Like I'm not looking at like the I think Adi Gala and Sas Ali both have blue contacts as well.
Yeah, they have they have all the same costume details and everything because they were supposed to be the same person. And it's just weirder that they didn't just say, "Oh, we recasted them." It's like, oh, did they just go and find the closest looking replacement in the order for? Like, that's just racist.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just a weird fucking choice.
Yeah, like Eth Koth gets kind of explained as leaving the Jedi Order to spend more time with his family because he ends up getting married and having a kid. So I wasn't sure at first if
classic Jedi behavior.
That was who the book was introducing.
That's what I was wondering too, because I remembered that detail.
Yeah. It's like Mirth or something as his wife's name. Something.
I'm pretty sure he's killed in the Darth Vader comics. I do remember.
Yeah. He's in the one that has like I think it's the same issue where Vader and the Grand Inquisitor are looking at like the list of surviving Jedi that has like Yoda and Oppo Rancisis on it.
Huge material for 2017 Star Wars YouTube.
Yeah. That's where, Oppo's coming back in Jedi 3. It's happening.
That'd be good.
Voiced by Liam O'Brien.
He's such a fucking freak.
Of all the Jedi, Matt, you have him lined up. It's like, okay, which of these fuckers is going to escape the Empire for 20 years?
Oh, yeah. He slithered away. For sure. I like how he goes swimming in this one, though.
Yeah. He was a fun character. I enjoyed all of them. Like, I like what they all brought to the table. I thought Miller did a good job, like, handling all those characters in a book all together. And, like, I was kind of thinking, it's probably not a book that I am going to revisit a lot. Like, it's not one that I finished and I was like dying to go back into, like maybe I was with Alphabet Squadron or even Traitor. But I think like if I had gotten this book when I was 14 or 15 or something, like I would have loved this. Like this would be really up there for me. I think that's kind of what you want out of a Star Wars book. So I think it's really good from that perspective as well.
I honestly do think it is just a kind of fun book as well. Where like it is like the beach episode. It's because it's
Yeah.
like you've got all the Jedi Masters. You know, it's the anime beach episode. You got all the Jedi Masters. They're not in high school. They're on the fucking beach. They're all gonna get into hijinks, and like it's just silly. Like one of them is like going like Eth Koth is like going through a book like used bookstore.
Yeah.
And the threat is like grave, but like not that serious. And like obviously, she doesn't successfully wipe out all the Jedi. So
Mhm. She was saying like, "Oh, I've been killing Jedi, not just I killed a Jedi." So like, was there some other Jedi that she actually managed to kill beyond Zarin Raw?
I don't know. I don't even know who that is. Other
That
than
was
was
Padawan.
he out of the book? I mean, like, does he exist outside of this book?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because I feel like no, he did not. He was a fresh invent.
Hmm.
Oh well.
Hmm.
But we did get Deppa mentioning that she was going to potentially pick up another Padawan at the
Yeah.
end. So a nice little
Yeah.
nod to Kanan
Yep.
or Caleb.
Well, does the age work out? I mean, I guess she decided later because
Yeah.
he's not
That
that
age
old. You
wouldn't
could have
work
had
out yet.
one before him,
Yeah, you could.
or
Because
yeah, actually
Kanan
no.
was
Kanan's like
10 or
12 or
so.
10, so probably not a full other Padawan. I guess she took some
Yeah.
time.
She said she might not do it now, maybe in a couple of years, and then
Yeah.
that would line up with like if she picks him up at well, they don't pick Padawans until they're like 12 or 13. So Kanan hadn't been with her for very long by then.
Yeah.
So
I
maybe
don't
she
know.
did do another one in the
Yeah.
middle, but
Yeah.
it was kind of striking me as like, oh, these people have way too much power for the behavior I'm seeing right now.
Yep.
This is scary.
Yep.
But that's the way I feel when I see like most people in any kind of position of power. So that's accurate as well. Poor Adigalia, though, getting
Yep.
turned into Yoda's secretary.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, this probably isn't too cool. You probably shouldn't be like fetching me coffee. She's like, well, I could, I get the, I can though. He's like, yeah, but
We should really
tough
have
one.
someone else to do this.
Yeah, like somebody didn't go to space Jedi school
Yeah.
or get their space PhD.
Well, at least at best, or at least someone who is still in like doing their space Jedi internship, not like the
Yeah,
CFO getting coffee for the CEO.
yeah. That's why she quit before episode 2, obviously.
What happens to Adigalia in canon?
This is gonna be my video. I want to look at the everybody who changed because there were, I think, there's a couple more. I can maybe include maybe one more, and then kind of what happened. That should be fun.
She dies on Florum in 19 BBY. She's still on the council in 20 BBY. I guess, yeah, because it's between episode 2 and 3 that they replaced them. So that makes sense.
The one, and someone pointed this out, the one that has the biggest change is probably Kit Fisto, like appearance wise, where they make him look like a total freak.
Yeah, the eyes go from the normal size ones to the huge ones.
Yeah.
Well, Zalastra, the antagonist in this book, is Nautilin, so
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah. At one point they referred to like her big ass hands, which they weren't even her hands got cut off. Well, no, they didn't get cut off. Her hands they blew up. And she blamed the Jedi. Like, look what you made me do. I didn't like her much. I read a couple of reviews before, like, and they were talking about how compelling of a character she was and fun, and I don't know. She didn't do it for me.
Yeah, she was fine.
But
Didn't
Kit
have
Fisto wasn't
any
in the book that
strong.
much. What was he doing again?
At this point,
Well,
he's too
he's in
young.
the what?
Kid
Wasn't he
Fisto's too
in?
young.
Oh, he wasn't on the council in this one.
I don't think he was
Wasn't
on the
he?
council in episode 1.
Oh, okay. Oh,
He
so
was
his look
introduced, like he was
changed.
there in episode 2.
Okay.
Kid Fisto, was he even on the council in
Maybe
episode
not. I
2? I don't
couldn't
think he
remember if he was
was.
in the book or not. Maybe he's just on Geonosis. Because he does that. He knocks over the droid and then smiles. It's very,
Yeah.
very good scene.
Yeah, I don't think he's on the council yet at that point. Like I think he gets added in episode 3.
Okay.
In episode 2, he's just smiling. And it's probably that smile that got him added to the council in episode 3, if we're
That
being
smile,
honest.
that damn smile.
I wonder when he first shows up. Because I think in the Clone Wars, he's always on the council. So it might have been like right then.
I don't know.
Am I an idiot? Is he on the council in episode 3? I don't think he's on the council in episode 3 or in episode 2. Yeah, he's not. Because Obi-Wan gets Coleman Trebord's position. Oh, Depa Billaba and Kit Fisto in 22 BBY. Maybe he is on the council in episode 2. Unless Depa is off it and then Kit Fisto comes. I think Kit Fisto takes Depa's position. Yeah, that makes sense. So this is all helping you for your video, I assume.
Yeah. Thank you.
Me rambling about it for a while.
Oh yeah, you incoherently rambling is really a big help. Thanks, Corey.
Do you want to just take the audio for that and post that as your video?
Yeah, thanks. Is it? Oh yeah, no. Episode 2. Yeah. Fucking
I
compelling.
was more enthusiastic than that.
Yeah, you
I'll get the Always Sunny style corkboard going.
The council can only have one fish person on it at a time, so just
Who's the fish person in episode 1 then?
I don't know.
Well, think about it.
I won't.
So, do we get like another Jedi Council book with the other people who didn't get to be in this one? Like, they were really churning through them for a while. And I think canon has established that some just like step down for a few years and come back on when they feel like it. I think that happens in the High Republic.
I thought Adi Gala was going to do at the end. I couldn't remember. Like, it almost seemed like Yoda was about to send her off Coruscant for a bit.
Yeah. And then her cousin Stas Ali shows up.
Yeah.
Just Adi Gallia and a mustache.
They all have blue eyes. Every single. Yeah.
Where's she from even? The Lothan. Okay. I can never remember like which Star Wars humanoids.
I guarantee if you look on the wiki page, for her species, there'll be something about how they had a high predisposition to being force sensitive.
It was possible for the Lothans to be force sensitive, so it doesn't say that. Okay. There is a picture from an RPG supplement that looks like absolutely insane, like full Joker face of a Thalothan Mystic Force user given to the dark side of the Force.
Oh,
so
I'm gonna look that up real quickly. On the Legends one, no.
Just canon. That picture is like
looks like from that movie Smile. Yeah. Okay.
Or from that movie Joker.
Yeah.
But we also has it been established before that the Pelta was pre-Clone Wars? Like old?
I was trying to think if you could see one. I can't remember if the Pelta is one of those ships you can see in episode 1. But I did notice that as well because you can see the Gazanti in episode 1.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you could see a Pelta.
I think it was introduced in
Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars, so I don't think it was.
Yeah, maybe not. Isn't that what Yoda has in the first episode? Pelta, I think.
Oh, the Clone Wars.
Yeah, remember when he gets shot down? I think it might be a Pelta he has. I could be wrong. It could just be one of the.
Yeah, Cat and Mouse. It's in Cat and Mouse. You're right.
Yeah. Okay.
Technically, the first appearance was in the Clone Wars film. So. Yeah.
There you go. I'm just looking at my notes to see if I have anything else. I just wrote Kiadi, Mundi, and Yariel Poof. I guess I liked them.
These characters.
The beginning of the story was very much like those like fake internet stories where it's like Einstein, clapped and gave you $100. Everyone clapped and Albert Einstein showed up and personally delivered you. That was kind of like the first bit with like Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, where like every fucking thing they do works out perfectly, and it's like they're like smugly smiling as they like take advantage of these lesser creatures and like
Yeah, but the family wasn't very into their shit though, so they thought Obi-Wan was a sexual predator, which is a brave way to open the book.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Obi-Wan just being a fucking creep.
yeah,
It's like
I like
Obi-Wan's got like
establishing
his
that Obi-Wan
hand.
has no social
I
skills.
imagine he's wearing like a big overcoat and he's got like his hand on his lightsaber and inside his jacket.
It's just like poking up a bit in his robe.
Yeah.
He's just got his hand on it the whole time.
No, I'm good. Look. So Obi-Wan got that's what Obi-Wan can't fly on public starliners anymore.
He's lucky he didn't get kicked off the transport on the way to the Senate in episode 3.
Yeah. That's why he couldn't fly with it had to be Anakin who went with Padme in episode 2 because no way they were sneaking in Naboo.
They keep getting him with that ID.
He's the most famous exhibitionist in the Outer Rim.
How big your
Oh, brother.
Well, where's this gonna fall on your rankings?
I liked it. I don't know if it's a B or a C. Like, I like the planet. They actually released a full map of the planet, which I thought was pretty cool. Did you see that?
I did not, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, they did. So that was kind of cool. I liked the planet, but I didn't. The world building was fine. I really liked the characters. I think it was a little too long, so I'm gonna give it a C.
Yeah, like I think I would give it higher if I was younger. For me right now, I think I'm landing on high C, low B.
Yeah,
With you,
I'd give it a
which
B
I mean,
minus.
still good.
Yeah.
If people want to get some Jedi action, it's like it does what it says on the tin with that. I think it's a
Yep.
good read, especially if you're looking for something that is done by like a Legends author who was writing a bit with some of the Legends content in mind. That's an option as well. But yeah,
Yeah, and we didn't talk about the Palpatine scene at the end as well.
right.
The
Yes.
Darth Maul appearance.
Yeah. So the guy who was in charge of watching this outpost and was basically their archivist while they were gone, the combination janitor and archivist. He'd been like smuggling books out to Palpatine and almost got caught by the Jedi before he gets killed by Darth Maul at the end. So some nice little cameos there.
Because he was supposed to be destroying the stuff that Palpatine didn't want.
Yeah, Palpatine was trying to make it so that like it wasn't just the important stuff that was gone; it was a bunch of stuff, so it didn't look like someone was stealing just the Jedi's copies of the secrets of being a Sith Lord and how to win the galaxy in 10 easy elections. But Seneschal Vo kind of messed up, and then Eth messed up by not keeping track of that better.
And then it goes a little further as well and suggests that Palpatine kind of helped orchestrate the entire, because like the other thing that we haven't talked about is there's another undercurrent where you're following this crime syndicate who's basically trying to, there's like 5 crime syndicates in this part of the galaxy. I don't know if there are any that were previously known. I don't think so. But the other thing going on is one of them is trying to unify them and make this other area almost like hut space where they can kind of
a buffer state between the Hutts and the Republic in this area that the Republic has kind of fallen out of because of the economic developments of the area.
And obviously that's unsuccessful. She's got this plan where she basically kills a bunch of the leaders and they partner up for this grand assault on the island, and the Jedi kind of off screen mostly figure it all out, and then the attack fails spectacularly and she's arrested. And then at the end it kind of hints that Palpatine helped set it up slightly.
Yeah, this was his plan A for Order 66 was kill all the Jedi Master, all the Jedi Council in an explosion on Quen 10 years before.
But, well, he said he didn't expect it to be successful.
Yeah, well, I mean, you gotta try some stuff,
Cap
right?
Palpatine.
He's lucky he didn't have his library card get found by Eth.
Yep.
Would have really blown stuff up there.
That's true. We also did get a little Valorum content. You don't get much Valorum, but he's in this one.
Yeah, we got the meeting with him where Addie's complaining that like why is the office this color blue, and then Palpatine, cheeky little bugger that he is, like I'd go red with this. You like red? No, you know who
The
likes
funny thing
red,
is,
Addie?
so I listened to the audiobook, like a lot of people suggested. For part of it, I read half, listened to half, like I usually do, and it was really good. But like during that sequence, it like failed to play. Like it's funny. I've talked about this before, but it'll be like I don't know, like a person's business will be failing, and it'll start playing like the Sith, like oh, like just like really dark side music for like really boring shit.
Mundane.
I'm pretty sure it played like a joking stinger for Palpatine at that moment.
Well, even the authors have to be coy because if someone's just going through Star Wars in order, they don't know Palpatine's a Sith yet.
That's true.
They're gonna have such a
That'd be a
crazy
wild
reveal.
way to experience Star Wars.
It's the new viewing order is all the High Republic, Living Force, then Episode 1, then Episode
Don't forget
7.
even the High Republic Kids TV show. You got to work.
Right.
You also got to work in the Jedi Council challenge or Jedi Temple challenge or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
I
I think you probably have to alternate like an episode, like Star Wars episode movie, then a Jedi Temple challenge episode. Like you go back and forth like that to make sure you
well,
get the full content.
chronologically, I think it takes place. I can't remember. Oh, yeah, well, it's got what's his name, so I guess it's during the prequel era. I was just thinking. I wonder who the who. I hope the Acolyte features the Chancellor of the day.
It has to. There's no way it doesn't.
I wonder who it will be. I wonder if it'll be like another Valorum. Like if they'll kind of go that route where we're starting to see like the nepotism. Well, not really nepotism, but the political,
the oligarchy.
Oligarchy.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, they're like Leslie Headland was saying that like KOTOR was a reference point. She wanted to reference Bane more, but didn't end up bringing him up directly in the first season. But pulling in like an older Chancellor Valorum, because that was the case in the Bane books as well. Because that's when Tarsus Valorum was.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, so I think it's a reasonable theory.
Yeah, they talk about that a bit in. I feel like Plagueis has a section about that as well, where he talks about like the book talks about like how there were even Jedi chancellors in the past, and
yeah,
I think that's Plagueis that talks about that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it for the Living Force.
Yep. Good book.
So next week,
pretty long.
It was a long one, but not as long
if it
as
were shorter, I'd give it a B.
Yeah, I can see that. Like it's like right on the edge of a B for me. Like if you want to call it a B, I wouldn't object to that. Do you remember what you gave Trader? Did you give Trader a or an S?
I think an A.
Okay, I think. All right, because we didn't have that recorded, but it's been a while since we've looked at our rankings with. So if I gave Trader an S, which I think I did, then I have one more S than you right now.
Mm-hmm.
We both have 2 Fs. You have 7 Ds and I have 6. And then you have 13 A's and I have 14.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if anything else is ever going to end up in the F tier with us.
It'd be pretty bad.
And I guess that's 3 different books that we have in there. I thought we had the same Fs, but we do not.
What are they again?
So we both agreed Planet of Twilight was not good. Children of the Jedi you have as an F, and I had as a D. Then Jedi Academy
for you was Champions of the Force.
Yeah, Champions of the Force for me, which you gave a D.
So I did want to show you. Speaking of Champions of the Force, I got a nice new trilogy, Jedi Academy trilogy.
Beautiful.
And check this out. Mr. KJA himself.
Nice.
He was selling these for like signed trilogies, these nice box. They do the Legends banner. I don't care. I know some people do. I think he sold. I think I bought this for like $50.
Huh.
Which I'm very excited to own this. Not my
feel like-
favorite trilogy, I'll admit, but it sets up a lot. That's very important and very good.
I feel like Kevin Anderson is within the category of people who might someday be willing to come on the podcast.
Yes, I agree.
We just do not mention the book rankings because that would just be rude.
Yeah.
What's our biggest disparity in ratings? Have we ever been more than like one apart? Because there's a
Okay.
bunch where like we'll be an A and an S or a B and a C. But I don't know that we've ever had one that was like two
I don't think so.
spots apart. It's kind of disappointing. No, we've never done that. Well, maybe Destiny's Way will be.
Maybe.
Who knows?
We'll
So
find
next
out next week, I suppose.
are we reading Destiny's Way for next week?
Let me think about it.
All right. Ladies and
It
gentlemen,
is still playoffs, so I'm pretty busy, but we'll think about it. And
because the week after that is going to be Acolyte.
okay.
And the weeks after that is going to be Acolyte.
Let's try.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to try.
Yeah, I can't promise. Got
Look,
children. Got
skim
hockey.
it. Read the Wikipedia. Like you've read Destiny's Way before.
I
It's
have.
an election. It's
There's more
election
underwater
building the
scenes,
Jedi Council.
More underwater scenes from what I remember.
Jason
It's
takes a
on
vacation.
Moncal, right?
Yeah. Jason takes a vacation. Senator sneak away and scramble free. Building like gossiping about our coworkers to build the Jedi Council. Rigging democracy for a system that no one should have faith in. Like it'll come to you. It's not a hard read.
All right. Let's aim for it then.
Next week, Destiny's Way. You heard it here first, everyone.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening. We're going to go and do some Mario, I guess is what's happening.
I guess.
Charlie and his crazy ideas. All right. Wave goodbye to the people
Bye-bye.
on youtube.com/ECKSTOO. Bye.
Bye-bye. I get my drink. So bye-bye.
Well, I haven't clicked end yet. No, everyone had to listen to that.
That sounds like a them problem.
Well, I'm going to go eat some ice cream first, and then I'll come down and see. Oh, he's gone.
I'm listening.
Okay. Have a good day.